This week on Not Just a Hat Rack, we're going to talk about Grayson Waller returning to NXT. Smackdown, Giulia gets buried, or I don't know what's going on there. Summerslam, all the results, and let's see how well we predicted it. And that was a hell of a Raw after Summerslam, setting up the next big things and stuff. This is August 4th, 2026, and this is episode 10. Hold on to your hats. First of all, Joker, Grayson Waller showed up on NXT, and they're calling it, like, a pipe bomb and blah, 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 like they always try and say when someone talks on the microphone and it sounds like they're shooting and stuff, and they cut off the microphone and everything. I'm happy because, not that I forgot about Grayson Waller, but, I felt bad. Like, he's one of the guys, like I always say, like Corbin, Dijak, and Ethan Paige and these guys that I like that, although Ethan Paige is in good position, Grayson Waller never really got that on the main roster. He came up, he fought Edge, he did good, Edge did the whole, can you sink or swim? And you swam, and then, see you later, I'm going to AEW. And then Grayson kind of, him and Austin Theory did the tag team stuff, and they broke up off camera because of Austin Theory's injury. But then he got put with the New Day, just standing there doing nothing, or fighting with Kofi when Xavier got injured. And then New Day gets released, and it's like, okay, well, we need Grayson Waller to do something. We don't have anything for him on the main roster because we don't have anything for anyone on the main roster. The women don't even defend their titles on the main roster. So to see Grayson Waller pop up in NXT makes sense to me. He's not like the veteran guy that you want there, like you had with, Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, or like Sean Spears, those guys that can really help the young guys. But it's almost like that in between, a guy who's been through the NXT system, who can have great matches with these guys and work with, it's almost like he didn't fail on the main roster. Obviously, he didn't fail. It was just the booking that failed him. But bringing him there, I think, will be great because it gives, as much as all the fresh faces that are showing up, like Tristan Angels and Mason Rook and Evil and all these guys that are popping up in NXT, having Grayson Waller be there, it's almost, and it's a good comparison as well, is the way they brought back Baron Corbin, the way that Big Cass has now returned. You need somebody who's just going to be there for everyone to kind of fight, even if they don't win or do anything. Although we will get to that. Baron Corbin did win, big win. So the fact that Grayson Waller's there, I'm excited to see him on my TV every week. I try not to. NXT was fun to watch until they really kind of got stripped of everybody to the main roster with Sol Ruka and Trick and Ethan Page and Oba and all them. Only really left like, Zarya, some of the women also was still fun to watch, like Kendall Gray and everything. But as far as the men's roster, and Grayson Waller said it best, the men's roster is weak. The women run laps around them down there, which is 100% true. Like, I think I said it before, or if I didn't, I've always thought it, or we talked about it off air, that make NXT all women. You could have, like, they had it one night. I think it was 4 or 5 matches on NXT, 1 men's match. The rest were women's matches. Like, it's becoming, like, the men kind of are very much the background of the women that are the highlight of the show, which is good because then moving forward, the main roster gets, better women and stuff to not defend their titles. But yeah, are you excited to see what they're going to do with Grayson Waller and NXT, Joker? And what do you think? Do you think it's good or bad for him and for NXT?
Well, honestly, it gets him back in the eyes of the audience and in the public, which is a good thing because if he's just sitting in the back, no eyes on him, I fear for him more. But in a lot of ways, with how they did Corbin and Dijak too, they went back down to NXT. They got eyes back on them. But when they got called back up, they got released. I don't want that to happen for Grayson Waller. But like, I'm excited for him to reinvent himself again in NXT and possibly get more time. I think it can be a good thing, but mostly I think it can be a bad thing. It's a double-edged sword in multiple ways. It's just you want it to go one way for the guy, but it could easily go the other way. And hope to God it doesn't go the other way because that would be awful for him to go down, get better, get released after getting called back up.
Exactly. So what you're saying is it could go good or bad, it should go good or bad, and it might go good or bad, and didn't really answer the question. Gotcha.
Oh, what I was trying to say is it can go good, and I want it to go good. Like, I want it to go good for Grayson because he's a hell of a talent, and The worst case scenario, I don't want to see anyone lose their job, and I just want Grayson to do good things because he's just a good talent.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And he looks good. He's in great shape. Like he even said, he keeps in great shape. And and that's the thing about we see these wrestlers and stuff. It's like these guys that you don't see wrestle often, or like they're always like ready to go. But I mean, like they don't get paid like per match or per night or anything like that anymore. Like they used to kind of get paid. Like they get paid, they guaranteed money. So they whether they're wrestling or not. But there's guys like Grayson who's like they want to wrestle. Like great, I could sit back and hang out in catering with Otis and Tozawa and get paid for being here, or I could be out there doing what I love to do, doing what I want to do. So I hope to, yeah. I mean, if there's, and that's kind of what they did with, like, like we said with Corbin and Dijak and stuff. If there's nothing really on you for the main roster, well, let's drop you down to NXT. I mean, hell, I could see Grayson Waller going to AAA. I don't know how they would, but I mean, you could find places for him. You have things. You have LFG and Evolve and NXT and it's just everywhere. It's like for him not to have TV time. But it's interesting. It's to give him that much time on NXT. It's like, hey, we know Grayson Waller's a proven talent. We know Grayson Waller's good. Throw him in front of everybody. Throw him in front of those 600,000 people that watch NXT, and maybe it'll mean something. So hopefully it does, because yeah, it's been unfortunate. I was excited when he got called up. He was doing so well in NXT before. But if that's what I mean, if they literally, if he's sitting backstage and they're like, "Hey, you want some TV time? Yes. Do you mind going to NXT? Yes. Take me anywhere." And so I think that's what the case is they want he's hungry, and they have a spot. So hey, here's a spot for you. Take it. But on to SmackDown. Can't remember too much that happened on there, because the really thing I wrote down was the fact that Lash Legend and Giulia was the final qualifier for the interim women's ladder match at SummerSlam. And the fact that it was weird, because they kept showing the graphics for SummerSlam. We know which matches are on which night, but it's like that one blank spot, which is usually interesting because who's going to be that last spot. And I even looked it up before SmackDown. I think it was Thursday. I looked it up, and they knew which match it was. So it's like, oh, so we know it's Lash Legend or Giulia. So it's not like it's a big surprise. It'll just be one of them. Where normally it's like you leave it to the very last show because it's going to be interesting, and then it's like, okay, well, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, this is great because Giulia just turned face. She beat Kiana. She'll do something, or there'll become, something will happen, and maybe she'll beat Lash Legend, as she should, because she's Giulia, and Lash Legend has not really been around since her and Nia lost the tag titles. But what was it? Less than 2.5 minutes? 2 minutes? Lash just beat Giulia and got into the ladder match. Like what? And I think it was Chelsea that beat Kiana James the week before. Not complaining, because obviously we all know what happened with Chelsea Green at SummerSlam, which is what everyone wanted. Well, us here anyway, for sure. So Chelsea beat Kiana clean. Chelsea doesn't usually beat people, so her beating Kiana to get in, and I think I said that. Maybe we didn't cover it here, but we talked about it. Chelsea beating Kiana clean was like, huh, Chelsea got a win, a good win, to get into this ladder match. And that really was like, maybe, I mean, besides wanting it, maybe they'll actually do it. And like we all know, we'll talk about in a little bit, they sure as shit did. So, Giulia, I don't know. And I guess she went to Twitter afterwards and said, you know, all good, like basically people were like, oh my God, how dare you treat her like this, all this stuff. And her post on Twitter was pretty like, like she's fine and she'll excel wherever, like she's doing like, same thing I think with like Kairi or Asuka, which is weird to compare because of all the Japanese wrestlers, but it's like, people are always concerned like how they're being treated on TV or like this and that. And it's like, and it's true, because it's like, well, I look at this now and it's like Giulia is a 2-time U.S. champion, barely defended it, lost it it just happened. Like it was like very, very lost on the main roster. So it's unfortunate. I would like to see more. I mean, I guess the other things about SmackDown is really like Jordan Grace has disappeared, and Ilya Dragunov has disappeared. And there was a rumor that has not been, proven that they're basically going to wait out their contract, or when it comes time to renew, they're just going to say, yeah, no, we're done. Which is weird because Dragunov was doing so well, and it's like, it's so weird to see him off TV. And Jordan Grace had that injury. He had an injury too, but still, he had an injury for a year. He came back strong, him and Mello, and they did the U.S. title stuff with him, and him and Sami. So it's like, I don't know. I was losing a lot of faith in wrestling lately, especially leading up to SummerSlam. Like we even talked, like I think Joker, you pointed out first, like what are these nights? Like The matches on each night made no sense. The card looked like it just looked wrong, which we'll get to when we talk about SummerSlam, is
Yeah.
how it really turned out. Well, I mean, but listen, I have a lot of good things to say about SummerSlam. So it's but yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Giulia and Kiana James as well. It's like you had them break up, have a big moment, and now they're just losing, so other people can get into a title match. So, and Tiffy's in the title match, so she's not even defending the U.S. title. Yeah, I don't know. Very, very confusing because they've got all that NXT women talent coming up, ready to go, but the main roster talent aren't doing enough or showing up. I don't know. Someone's doing something wrong somewhere, but that was SmackDown. That was before SummerSlam, and that was before the Monday Night Raw we just had. So, SummerSlam, night one, probably the worst of both nights, but that's just me. Probably Joker as well. And we're just going to go through the matches because it started off Liv versus IYO. That's fine. I like when they did it at WrestleMania, right? The women's matches start, the women's title at first, men's match at the end. That's how Triple H and them like to do it. So it's like, you start with a big title match, end with a big title match. Makes it feel bigger. We're back in the day. Back in my day, it would be the second biggest match would be right before the main event. You'd build up like crap match, mid-card match, really good match, and then the big match, big main event at the end. So Liv and IYO, I was excited for ever since IYO won the Queen. I predicted IYO to win Queen of the Ring. She won Queen of the Ring by beating Liv Morgan, who hadn't defended her title. She challenged Liv Morgan. I'm like, okay, well, IYO's just going to go on and win because it's beautiful. Just find a way to put the title on her. But I think obviously, I mean, you never know, but I think because of Rhea's injury, that might have changed that as well. Not that they would like, oh well, obviously IYO's just going to win, but like to have IYO and Rhea be champions at the same time would have been fun. Kind of like because of everything they did the last couple of years with everything they've with the tag titles and their match at Evolution and the triple threats that they had with Bianca and Naomi. It'd be fun, and then knowing Crown Jewels around the corner, I think I talked about that. So it's like, but because that's not happening, Rhea's out. It's like, okay, well, we should keep the title on Liv, but we need people for Liv to fight, which we did get on Raw, which we'll talk about that after we do the SummerSlam talk. So IYO losing was it did not set the pace I wanted for SummerSlam night one. Let's just say Liv beating IYO was the wrong choice. I will change my mind after what I saw on Raw. What do you think about IYO? Well, the King and Queen of the Ring tournament in general, which we talked about as well. Oba wins the King of the Ring, doesn't use his title shot to fight Brock. IYO wins Queen of the Ring, fights Liv, and loses. Now the King and Queen, it's like it never happened. So between those two, between how the King and the Queen turned out and IYO losing to Liv, Joker, what do you got to say about that?
Well, okay. I'm gonna say the King and Queen situation altogether wrapped into the Liv Morgan IYO match. I only got really two words for it: is they soiled it in so many ways because
That's two words. They soiled it in so many
they
ways.
soiled. Oh, three. They soiled it. Yes, thank you. But no, it's just like I will say it was kind of disappointing. I do agree with you that Liv was the wrong choice. I would have been much happier if IYO would have won that with that title. But I get it. I can kind of see the direction where they're going, especially with what happened at Raw with Raw.
Well, yeah, the low light of night one for sure. So the 6-man tag was next with obviously LA Knight, Royce Keys, and the newly face Solo Sikoa against face heel who knows Usos and Jacob Fatu. I still, after like I was saying last week, like the who knows what the hell's going on, who to cheer for. I mean, obviously we all know to cheer for LA Knight and those guys and Solo, like those. But it was like there's such a I don't know if the bloodline's supposed to be tweeners or not. Even after Raw, still have no idea. Like I mean, I don't know. We'll figure out that when we get to Raw. But it was a good match. Like I said, and it's funny because LA Knight in WrestleMania was with the Usos. It's funny to see LA Knight like in those positions because it's like hey, I'm a mid card guy without a title. I'll just fill this slot or fill that slot. Or oh, you need a third. Okay, but there's three of you and two of them. Well, I'll be the third. Kind of like they put Joe Hendry with Danhausen against Judgment Day. We'll get to what happened with Joe Hendry on Raw. Holy Jesus. Anyway, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying not to be unhinged this week or as unhinged because I think the last 2 weeks just seeing all the crap with Roman and stuff. And like I said, I was really losing a lot of faith the last couple weeks. So things were going downhill with how I was reacting. So, but the most interesting part was LA Knight got the pin on Jay, whereas Jimmy Eat the Pin Uso was in the match. Um, so that's big, you know. And as like we'll get to it when we talk about Raw, it's like, you know, LA Knight feels like he's accomplished something. So, which he did. I mean, he's now got a pin over Jay. Kind of. I don't know if they had. Did they do a singles match after that King of the Ring thing? He didn't really get his win back, but yeah, no, I was happy with that. It was short and sweet ish, not short enough. What do you think of Solo Sikoa as a babyface now, Joker? Now that he's gone, like he was being silly, but now that he's silly and a face, the fans are allowed to cheer and enjoy it. So, you know, the match and that.
I will say he's kind of got The Rock's charisma in a way. Like he's got a little bit of that young Rock in him. Solo does, and it's weird. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be weird to
Well, but it's
kind of
entertaining. It's entertaining.
yes.
It's funny if you
It
look
is
at him 4
entertaining.
years ago when he showed up and, you know, cost Drew the title. Oh, Drew. But, you know, Solo was like the way when Jacob showed up. It was like he's the enforcer, doesn't talk, Mr. Serious in his street shorts, and now he's like, you know, wearing the suits with the chain and being all silly, and it's like that's the same guy. Like it was just so weird when they first did it, but now that we're kind of used to it, I think it's fun to see. But yeah, no, absolutely, he's got the Rock's charisma, even though he's Rikishi's
It's
son.
yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. I will say, I agree with you. There was a perfectly good Jimmy Uso right there to take the pin. He was right there. But at the end of the day, right decision. I'm kind of interested to see where this friendship between Royce, Solo, and LA goes.
Up next was my most anticipated match of the night. Finally getting Nick Aldis in WWE, having WWE tease him as a general manager for however many years it's been, and like, you know, the same thing with the Gunther stuff. Like we put it out there to the universe that we wanted this to happen, and WWE they'll usually present something and not go through with it. So the fact that they actually did, and we got the we got the match. I'm not gonna say we got the what we wanted or the results because I would have liked to seen Nick Aldis win. It would make sense, but also Gunther being the active competitor, which is dumb because that sounds like the same thing with Goldberg and Cena. It's like, well, why would you have them beat Gunther? Gunther's still going to wrestle the next day. But I think Aldis tapped a little too soon. Um, Actually, before we even get there, the fact that he came out to Oasis, and I heard afterwards that Triple H had approached Nick Aldis and said, you know, no limits, anything you could have. What would your dream entrance theme be? And Nick Aldis is like, well, he always thought about that and, you know, back in the day and stuff. So he said, you know, Oasis, and he had his reasons. I think I can't remember he explained that, but and Triple H is like, well, let's see what we can figure out with something else then, because obviously he's like, that's going to be a little pricey, right? And I guess they only found out a few days before that Oasis was down for it. They got the rights to it, and Nick Aldis found out on SmackDown right before, like the day before. He was like, oh, obviously, you know, it's a dream thing, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But the fact that they did it, and I thought it was beautiful hearing that song come out, because I mean, I love that album back in the day. But I thought the match was really good. I enjoyed it. Aldis looked amazing, and then he got reinstated as a general manager. So it's like, okay, now we're just gonna. He did the match, and now Gunther moves on to, well, obviously he fought the next night, but I guess we'll see. They're burying a lot of hatchets, actually, because they kind of shook hands, you know, and like the Oba Brock thing we'll talk about, and like Seth and Roman. It's like, so it's almost like they're ending, kind of like the SummerSlam was really felt like a summer WrestleMania this time, because they were really ending some storylines, building some new ones to come out of it, not just like, oh, and we'll just go on to the next month after this, you know. So, but what did you think of Nick Aldis' performance and the outcome of that match, Joker?
Honestly, for a man that hadn't wrestled in over 3 years, it was a
Mm-hmm.
pretty good match. I would have liked it to go longer. I
Mm-hmm.
would have liked Nick Aldis to actually have passed out to Gunther instead of tapping really quickly. But other than that, I can't really complain. It
It sounds like you
it
just
was a good
complained a
match.
lot. I can't complain. Other than these complaints, I don't have any complaints.
Well, they're not really complaints. They're more criticisms. I get what.
What's the
It's just
difference
like
between a criticism and a complaint, Joker? I don't want to criticize or complain, but I'm going to criticize and complain. These strawberries
uh,
taste like strawberries, and they might kill me because my name's Joker. Can I get some snozberries, please?
but no. Honestly, it was as good as the match I think these two could have put on, and honestly, it deserved to be on the spot where it was in SummerSlam because there were better matches. But yes, it's kind of weird that
There were better
afterwards
matches,
because
like the 6-woman tag that came after.
well, yes, and later in the next night because you mentioned it a little bit about Nick Aldis being back as a GM. If that was his one and only match, or maybe if he shows up in the Royal Rumble, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
But he got his dream. You know, he
He got
got to
his match. He
wrestle
got his match.
in the WWE, and he got to wrestle one of the best performers now in our current generation, Gunther. You
Mm-hmm.
can't really like ask for much more.
Well, in the build, like it's like Gunther was being a bully, and Aldis was trying to and Aldis as a GM is more of that hands-on or hey, I'm not going to put up with your shit kind of guy. So it made sense, but like it's like like they're really good at like when there was teasing of Adam Pearce going to fight whoever, and it was like is it going to happen? It's like they could, and so when they finally did this, it was like yes, it happened. So if it's all we get, it's all we get. It happened. Never going to forget it because it's Nick Aldis's big WWE debut. Could be its only match. Speaking of better matches that were supposed to come after that, we had the 6-woman tag. Not knocking the 6-woman tag at all, but I was looking forward to Gunther Aldis more. Joker obviously wanted to see the 6-woman tag more and was more excited for the Bree mode.
No.
Speaking of Bree mode is injured. Nikki comes back from injury just for Bree to get injured after they turn on Paige. So there goes that storyline, unfortunately. But no, I thought it was a fine match. It was nice to see Fatal Influence on TV again after they won the tag titles because they showed up strong, fighting against like Rhea and Alexa and Charlotte, and then they just seemed a little put in a different position. 1 second. But actually, Joker, you called, or you really wanted the Bellas to turn on Paige, which they did. Are you happy with yourself? Are you pleased? Are you proud? You got your Joker moment?
No, even though I called how it would actually happen, I called Paige would take the pin and then the Bellas would attack her. Am I happy? No. I'm more happy that I got it right than anything. I just don't
Well,
want to see
that's
the
that's
Bellas.
that's that's what that's what I mean. Are you happy you got it right? No, but I'm happy I got it right. Joker,
Yes.
Joker. Lock in.
I am liking it. I just don't want to see the Bellas. That's
Well,
my
you
issue
won't.
with this.
You won't. Guess what? You got Nikki back, and Bree mode is injured, just like you. Now you don't have to hear Bree mode anymore. You got what you wanted in more ways than one. So you put it out in the universe, it'll come back to you. CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. I mean, the Street Fighter thing, I guess it makes sense. Cody's in the movie. Putting the guile hair on his skull mask, like, what? I don't know. I don't know. And like, I guess we didn't talk about it, but the 6-man tag that had the Gears of War and the entrance thing, and it's like, do we need that? Like, I don't know. I guess they make money off of it, but like, it's just, I don't know. It's too much advertising. Like, I think somebody pointed out the Wingstop was on the chairs. Like, I get the Slim Jim on the table because, a long table looks like a big Slim Jim. Slim Jim's been promoting, they've been advertising for wrestling for years, but it's like, Wingstop on the chair? Like, you could have, that chair could be covered in stuff. That chair's going to be covered like a NASCAR car, just like the ring is. Very difficult to, justify when they have, like, matches that are, like, like, even on Raw tonight, or last night, it was like, DiGiorno. It's like, why is DiGiorno on the side of the ring? Like, why can't it just say Raw, and it says DiGiorno in the ring already? Do we need it on the freaking LED boards? Anyway, to try and stay a little hinged here, Cody and Punk was a good match. Obviously, it was obviously should have been the last match, but somebody wanted to be the main event. But yeah, no, I thought it was great. They had some good moments, and I think I was talking about it with some friends and stuff that the dynamic really seemed like Cody was being the Ric Flair, and CM Punk was being the Dusty Rhodes, and especially because like Punk started recently when he came back and won the title, he's been wearing these bomber jackets, and I mean he kind of had the Ric Flair kind of tights, and actually I think there was a callback they showed a picture of Cody way back in the day where the green tights with the yellow letters just the looked like Ric Flair as well, and so to have Punk come out with the same kind of style, it's like callback to a callback of a callback, which I love callbacks. Everything full circle is always fun. Um, and I saw it online, and we said it when we watched it. That spot where Cody falls onto his shoulders and he does the GTS. You've done that so many times now. It's like that can't happen every match. That has to be something that like when he did it with Seth at the Netflix debut, it made sense. It's like, oh, this is a cool moment they can have there. But then he did it against Roman and still lost. Then he does it against Cody. I think he did it against Moxley or MJF. It's just once in a while you can do that, but you can't get away with doing that as often as they do. Like I don't think he did that to Drew. That's because it's Drew McIntyre. So you can't get away with that crap with Drew. Drew's gonna kick out of your end of days. Drew's not gonna fall on you for the GTS. Drew is gonna kick your ass in the Hell in a Cell. He is Drew McIntyre. Speaking of Drew McIntyre, I miss Drew McIntyre. When is he? I wanted him to come back either night one, night two. We did get at the end of the Cody match, or during the Cody match, I guess, the good old ref bump, and Randy Orton popped out, challenged, and gave a RKO to Cody, which means Punk retains. Cody goes on to fight Randy, get Cody away from the title, give Cody and Randy that feud, that that like kind of like that Punk Drew feud. You don't need a title; these guys are bigger than titles. And I've been saying it for a while. So, I mean, Cody finally learned he's bigger than a title, doesn't need a title. So, get him away from the title. Bring Drew McIntyre back. Even though Drew doesn't need a title, give Drew all the titles. He just doesn't need them. But what did you think? Besides CM Punk obviously possibly pooping his pants, was your highlight of that match, Joker? And what do you think of Randy returning at this moment?
Well, okay, I was gonna say, are we just gonna ignore the, poo stain in Punk's pants? But honestly, there were two moments in this match that I was like, one, Punk, good God, you almost killed yourself, almost missing the announce table with that elbow drop. Then Little Nate taking that awful bump from Cody Rhodes. I'm like, Charles, you really are trying to get payday in here. And then like when Randy came back, that was a good little moment. Punk, I was so afraid he was gonna get injured because the way he landed, he just slid and hit the barricade. That was a little horrifying, but honestly, that was match of the night for night one of SummerSlam,
Yeah.
hands down.
Well, and as it should have been. I mean, like it should have gone on last, or if it wasn't going to go on last, it should have gone on first. But I understand why they put the women first because, like I said, they want to have a big match first, a big match at the end. Although we're going to get to night two in a second, they didn't quite line up night two like that. But I have very little complaints about night two. Um, but yeah, Punk retaining is great. Nobody, I mean, we are all kind of ready for Cody to move on to something else, so we could finally get that. But then, Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi, the trilogy that nobody asked for, in a Hell in a Cell in the main event of night one. Could have been better. I'm just gonna say it nicely. It could have been better. It
It
wasn't.
went 5 minutes.
No, it was about 8, but like I think they had match times on there. Like it was like maybe 9 or 10, and I think, and you could tell at the end when Brock kind of looked. I think Oba was supposed to give him the fall from grace onto the wood that was exposed, so that it's like it's bigger, not just like one fall for like other than that, it's like you gave him one finisher. It took him like 15 F5s to beat him at Clash in Italy. So it was interesting to see. I think Brock obviously wanted to do some of the things that they did, like with the Undertaker callback and the, ripping the thing off and got the tombstone. It's like that's because Brock beat the streak, so Brock had that power to pass to Oba. So not just like, hey Oba, you beat Brock in the trilogy, you beat him in the Hell in a Cell. you beat the guy that beat the Undertaker's streak, So he literally is just passing the torch, but he's passing on that power, all the power that Brock had. Even though Cody beat him in a trilogy a couple years ago, it's not. He didn't pass on that end boss power. So Oba now has end boss power from Brock that he got. You know what I mean? So it's like, which is huge for Oba, especially the way they set it up on Raw that we'll talk about. Now he actually seems like, okay, he's going to be on the roster and doing stuff instead of just throwing around random people, fighting Brock Lesnar, complaining about Brock Lesnar being around, winning King of the Ring, deciding he doesn't want to be King of the Ring, still gets called King of the Ring even though he didn't challenge for the title and then fight Brock. And then, yeah. So the group we watched with all agreed it was a little, even some people that were newer to watching wrestling or haven't watched wrestling in a while were just like, they understood this match should not have been last. This match was not as good as it was advertised. Like, it was decent. I mean, but how can it go much longer with those guys? Like, Oba maybe can go longer. Brock's getting a little older and can't go forever. But they did some fun stuff. And, I mean, that should have been first. That could have been a first match, and I would have been like, oh, that's a good way to start. Pretty cool. Then you can have Liv and Io later in the match, and I can get pissed off that Io lost. But the fact that they started with Liv Io, I was like, oh, this is going to be a shitty night. But then, six-man LA won. Oh, Aldis tapped out. Great. But he had great music. Oh, the women's tag was decent. Oh, great. There's the bell is turning. Joker's right about something. We had to hear Brie mode, and then Punk Cody was good with Randy coming back, and then we had this finish. So just the taste in your mouth at the beginning of the night and the end of the night were similar. And in the middle was just kind of like, back and forth. So, but Joker, what did you think, and how do you feel about Oba moving forward? And will this be Brock's final match?
Honestly, at the end of the day, I don't care. But like,
you don't care about what? You don't care if it's Brock's last match? You're not tired of Brock Lesnar? You want him to come back? You want him to fight the Bellas? I was confused.
No, it's just like after this, like Brock, if this is his last match, it was an all right match to end on because
better than the 5-minute WrestleMania match.
Yep, this match was just spot after spot, literally.
Isn't that what all matches are? Is spot after spot?
Yeah. But this match was literally uppercut, clothesline out of the ring, suplex on the floor, still step, chair, suplex,
okay. Breathe.
F5.
Breathe, Macho Man, breathe. We're going to get from A to Z. We'll get there.
Yeah. F5, fall from grace, F5, suplex, tear up the ring, tombstone, fall from grace, end of match. I mean, it had its purpose, I will say. Even though it wasn't the greatest match,
and
it had its purpose. No, it wasn't needed, and it didn't need to be the main event. I'm still very pissed about that. Yeah. I'm more pissed about it being the main event than anything.
Well, I mean, because it was disappointing. And that's why it probably was more disappointing. Like I said, had it gone on first or second last, it wouldn't have been disappointing. But that was the last thing of the night. And that's exactly. I compared it to WrestleMania 11 vibes, where it's like we got Shawn Michaels wins the Rumble. He's going to fight Diesel. It's like, there's your main event, WrestleMania. And WrestleMania was only one night back in my day. And literally, we got Bam Bam versus Lawrence Taylor in main event because they said that Lawrence Taylor would have the main event. And they told Bam Bam got paid extra because he's going to be a main event if he makes Lawrence Taylor look good. And so Shawn and Diesel went on second last. That's how I feel about Cody and Punk. They kind of got that, yeah, we kind of promised this guy he'd go on last. So how do you mind being the first one-on-one match for you guys in 18 years with Randy Orton's return being, the penultimate match, as they say. Big fancy word. Yes, I know. So night one, like I was just saying, left a bad taste in a few people's mouths. But the funny thing was, looking at night two, it's like the structure looked weird. The matches that they chose for night one and night two didn't quite make sense. But then it all made sense because night one was kind of crap. Night two made up for it in spades, as they say. So who could have predicted, just like when it was Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes for the title, that the winner would be CM Punk? It was in Chicago. Probably could have predicted that. But at night two at SummerSlam, Finn Balor wins a 4-way, first of all, to get into a match to face Sami Zayn. And the winner of this is the number one contender for the undisputed, not very undisputed because there's more than one title, WWE champion. Nick Aldis comes out and says, I want to add someone else to this match. The guy who beat me last night that, I've been hating on for months. Let's just put him in here too. You know what? He's right. Maybe I'll just let him be in this match. And they're like, oh, Finn Balor kind of got really screwed. But Sami's reaction to Gunther was bad enough. And then Nick Aldis is like, let's add someone else. And Kevin Owens, freaking 17 months gone, been itching to get Kevin Owens back. And that's why I can't say I was okay, because I always love me some Drew. But Kevin Owens' return made up for all of night one. And not only did he return, the look on Sami's face, they shared a moment. The match was great. KO wins the match. Kevin Owens is now the number one contender versus CM Punk. That to me is amazing. So, I mean, I forgot about night one after this match. I mean, after all of night two, really. But this first match, this is how you start the show. You don't start the show with, I guess this is useless Queen of the Ring and challenging, you guess you should challenge someone else. So, yeah. Very awesome with a surprise return. I mean, I only heard like a week ago, they were like, well, Kevin Owens is kind of getting into that spot where he can come back soon. I was like, oh, that's cool. So we might see him in a month or two. Nope. They just literally within a week was like, yeah, no, he's here. And he's not slowing down. He even said if he only gets 2 years left at the speed he's going, he only gets 2. He's not going to, wrestle safe so he can wrestle longer, which is bold, but it's his way. It's his way. So, and it's funny because guys like Kevin Owens, he was a bad guy when he went out, but 17 months is a long time. Whereas, like, we'll talk on the Raw show, Becky Lynch returns and everyone cheers. It's like, well, Becky Lynch was an asshole for a year, but now that she'd been gone for a little while, everyone's like, oh, yay, it's them. Whereas KO literally deserved this welcome. And so to come back and be full on babyface, and he looked great. And yeah, the match was amazing. So, Joker, did you have any way of predicting that Kevin Owens would win in the match between Finn Balor and Sami Zayn?
No. Like, I initially going into this thought Finn Balor was gonna win,
Mm-hmm.
but like when the show began, and you're 100% correct. Like,
Yeah,
this
right I am.
is the type of match you should open a night 2 show with, and you know what? Gunther getting a second match, I was kind of mad, but as soon as I seen Kevin Owens come out on that stage and I heard that music, all that went out the fucking window.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, all out the window, and I'm like,
Yeah, you can
Kevin's
add
back.
anyone else. Add anyone else to this match. Kevin Owens is back.
But, yep. But then in my head, I'm like, oh, Finn Balor's chances of winning
Yeah,
this match have drastic gone down, as
yeah.
Scott Steiner would say. But like, honestly, it's the right choice. I hate to say it, it is the right choice. It is 110% the right choice. You bring
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Owens back from injury and automatically put him against Punk, which
Yeah.
I think is going to be a great match, great feud.
Great trilogy I'm sure we're going to get.
I'm Triple H. I like those trilogies.
So, Kevin Owens, you're going to return, and we're gonna have you and Gunther, and it's going to be a fatal 4-way now, but you're going to fight Punk, WrestlePalooza, or whatever dumb name we decided to make up, where ESPN wants it. We didn't make it up. We're WWE. We always come up with great names, like Great Balls of Fire. One of the best PLEs of WWE's history.
That's what we do. What we do.
Don't try and out Triple H me. Then we got Nick Aldis. We got Randy return. We got Kevin Owens returning and winning. And then, just when you think it couldn't get better, Baron Corbin beats Trick Williams for that United States furry title. And Baron Corbin is back, baby. And I mean, and it should have happened. The way he returned, you can't have someone return like that. And like, if he would have lost him, like, you came back and did nothing. It's kind of like I compared that with Evil in NXT. He came in huge, gonna fight Tony D'Angelo, all this stuff, all these threats, and then he lost. It's like, oh, I guess I'll just wrestle these mid card guys and someone else will fight for the title. It's like, well, now what do you do with the guy? So if Corbin would have lost here, I'd been like, thanks for coming back, and what do you want to do next? So I think it was a great idea, and obviously very great idea, because that's what I wanted. So, but then I guess Mello kind of called it. So we get Mello Corbin. We'll get back to Mello Trick. Maybe do a triple threat. Maybe we'll have a trilogy. I can see that coming. But I'm not complaining about that trilogy, because if Trick beats him or there's a DQ or something like that, you know, Corbin can hold the title for a bit. Even if he only holds the title for a few months, Baron Corbin came back, made a statement, won that title at SummerSlam from Trick, who's a big up and comer. It's a huge feather in his cap. Yeah, Joker, are you as excited for your Corbin as you tried to claim before?
Well, I am very excited because this match was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Trick Williams got busted open pretty early in the match, but you know what? I was very excited that Little Yachty actually took a bump through a table.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
been working his
that's
way
the
up. He
most.
took that haluva kick outside. He's been getting beat around here and there, and it's like, man, he really wants to. He's like, yeah, and I like the idea of him being out there as it's kind of a manager. Not like his Trick needs a mouthpiece, but like this is like he wants to be there. Like the way Bad Bunny or these guys want to be involved, but it's like these guys want to wrestle. It's like literally, audience like I will come to the ring with him every friggin' week. Like I get to show up on WWE and walk the aisle and with style and profile. I can't do a Ric Flair voice. Woo! But yeah,
But
no.
no, definitely right decision. Like, and I agree with you. If they brought Corbin back and they didn't give him the U.S. title, it would have been a complete waste.
Yeah.
So,
Well, especially because he attacked
like,
Trick. Had he not attacked Trick and
true.
they didn't give it to him, it's like, well, you know, he just, you know, didn't go after the title, so he wouldn't have got there. But it was perfect because, and it does. They only have a few, especially because like Ricky Saints kind of disappeared. Ilya's not there. Sami moved up. Like you've got to have people in those divisions. The way they've got the Intercontinental division going on Raw with like Penta and Gable and Ethan Page, Rusev, Javon. You know, you've got you know now it looks like actually who did he attack? Who did Big Cass attack? He attacked
Come on.
somebody. He attacked Javon? Okay, yeah, there you go. There's
Yes.
another guy that can be in the Intercontinental feud. So you've got people in those divisions. You got set divisions where the women divisions are all over the place and no one defends titles anyway. But the U.S. and the Intercontinental for the men's really have certain people that are going for those titles or feuding with people in those areas. So yeah, now that Baron Corbin won, it's like okay, well, Ricky Saints doesn't really, and I did say it before. I don't want to see a tag match of Ricky Saints and Corbin versus Trick and Mello, even though we'll probably end up getting that before we get a rematch or we get Corbin versus Mello. It's just inevitable. They always have to do something like that. Like you know, like on Raw when we had Penta and Gable versus Judgment Day. It's like I kind of called it like Gable was out there. Penta came out, and then I was like, who's going to come out and challenge Gable? Who's going to interrupt? Okay, it'll probably be either Dom, and I can't remember who else I said. But then Dom came out. I was like, oh yeah, there it is. Finally Dom has something to do, but at the same time, he's I don't know. They've really kind of cooled off on all the Dom and Judgment Day stuff, and so when they come out, it doesn't have that same effect, which is good. But at the same time, I don't know if people are sick of Dom, sick of booing him, but he's there now, and hopefully he mixed in there with all those guys that we just mentioned. You know, so yeah, Baron Corbin the win, 2 for 2. KO returns and wins. Corbin wins, and then Joker Harley. Just when you think it can't get any better, you're like, you know what? Those they can't. They could screw up the next match entirely, and I would be totally happy. But then they did the exact opposite, and they did not screw up one bit. That interim women's ladder match was fun. It was, some might say unpredictable, but I obviously, I mean, enough to wanting and
Chaotic.
thinking it can happen. Well, no, I mean, as far as the winner, like wanting it to happen and
Yeah.
thinking it happen are two different things. Everybody wants Chelsea Green to win. Everybody wants to hear have the title. But did anyone think it would really happen? Not Michael Hayes.
Well, I was gonna say screw you, Michael Hayes, because you should have believed in her.
Hey, now he wrote most of the Bloodline stuff for 4 years. I mean, come on now. He's Michael Hayes, Doc Hendricks himself that interviewed Stone Cold after the King of the Ring. Anyway, it was so weird when they brought in Doc Hendricks back then, back in my day. But yeah, Chelsea winning was amazing. It's like, and everyone who had in there, it's like I don't want Charlotte to win. Charlotte doesn't need it. I don't want Jade to have it again. Jade shouldn't get it. Lash too early. You know, Giulia would have been interesting. Tiffy already has a title, so it's like if you've looked at the playing all the people in place, Chelsea's the one makes sense. So you can't tell me that they're back there thinking, well, who should we have to win this? And then Road Dogg's not there anymore, but he'd be like, let's put the belt on Chelsea. Well, what do you want to do after that? I don't know. I always go back to that. That was too. I haven't watched Unreal season 3, by the way. Maybe that's what we'll talk about next week. Um, before we have our very special episode coming out soon, next week or the week after, which we'll talk about after. So Chelsea Green winning is amazing. And because it's interim, and this is the kind of thing I said they should have done with LA Knight last year. Seth Rollins is injured. You need to put the title on someone for a little bit. But instead they did the Jey Uso and CM Punk thing, and CM Punk won or whatever, all that stuff. It's like, well, no, like you could have had LA Knight run for a couple months. So what they're doing with Chelsea is great. Corbin's a champ. Chelsea's a champ. I don't know. A lot of good things are happening. Night 2 made me remember why I watch wrestling for some reason, like as if it was ever an issue. And then the fun match of the night, I can't call it the bathroom match because it was too quick. If you can get to the bathroom and back in 5 minutes, then obviously you haven't seen a Ricky Saints match. But Danhausen and Dom, which I think kind of came out of, like, I know the whole money thing, and they did their backstage things, and it's like, but I mean, he fought JD at Saturday's main event. Like Danhausen is working. Danhausen is over. So they're really not, without pushing him down our throats as much as they were, they're putting him in matches, and matches are good. So, but this match was obviously gimmicky. The midgets came out, and then all of a sudden it was a money on a pole match a couple days ago when they first announced this. I don't remember hearing anything about that. And then, obviously, we know how Joker feels about Vince Russo booking, Judy Bagwell on a forklift. So Joker, you go ahead and take this. What what issues or non-issue? What did you think of this match? Give us the whole breakdown.
Okay, I will say first off, Jim Cornette is rolling in his grave right now, and he ain't even dead. Vince Russo is having a good old spank in the corner to this godforsaken awful gimmick match. Bro, we're gonna put the money on the pole, and the guys are gonna climb up that pole to get the money. It's like, it didn't have to be a gimmick match, because this going into everything was already kind of gimmicky. You got a dude dressed up like an alien slash vampire going against Dominic Mysterio. Right, okay. You got midgets as well on top of all of this. Alright, so right now you're putting a hat on a hat that already has hats on top of the hats. There's a tower of hats happening, and this tower is gonna fall. Then the match happened. The match wasn't awful. The match got, what it needed to be done over. But why? Why did you have to gimmick the gimmick with more gimmicks on top of other gimmicks? It was okay. It was kind of funny to see, JD come in there, choke slam a couple of the mini houses.
Yeah,
they get wiped out by the other mini houses. But like, I feel a disturbance in the force, and it's Jim Cornette having a heart attack or aneurysm over this match.
I don't think he cares enough. Why would he? With everything else going on, why would he? I mean, just because it was like just gives him flashbacks of Vince Russo just booking everything on poles. Like, I haven't seen JCW, but how many juggalos on a pole match have we had since Russo started booking over there? So Danhausen wins, rolls in his money that you can now buy in the WWE shop. It's like you can buy freaking Monopoly money with Danhausen's face on it. I don't know. It's great. I love the funny stuff, but it is a little, especially while they're electrocuting and stuff backstage. It's like, they're just, what are they doing? They're a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's not horrible. I'm not saying the gimmick matches are bad. Not even, but because he's on both shows, so you see him see him twice a week, and then you see him here. This could have been on night 1. Night 1 didn't, as bad as we say night 1 was. Night 1 really didn't have a bathroom match. I wanted to see Livio. I wanted to see LA Knight. I wanted to see Gunther Aldis. I mean, the 6-woman tag, maybe, but I can't even say that because those are some great talent in there. The bathroom match for me would have been Oba and Brock, but it was on last, and I can't hold my pee for 3.5 hours. I'm used to seeing Ricky Saints at least an hour and a half in. I'm like, oh, good, fuck, finally. It's perfect. Thank you, Ricky. I could really use this bathroom break, and I really appreciate it. I mean, if Vanity Project is wrestling on NXT, then I know it's time to go take a dump because obviously they're dumping in the ring already. So... But then everybody, now listen, years of work have been paid off. Like, I can think back to when Chad Gable and Gunther were fighting, and he won by count out, and it was like, he's going to work his way up. And then Sami was the one who, he beat Chad, and he went on to beat Gunther at WrestleMania, but Chad kind of trained him. it was ever since then that, Chad just kind of disappeared, and then some guy named El Grande Americano came around, and nobody knew his identity. Nobody knew what was going on, and then it was slowly revealed that he was kind of a fake El Grande, and the true El Grande came out of retirement, was like, dude, you can't be pretending you're me, and so they had a huge match in AAA that they had the true El Grande versus this imposter El Grande, and you find out, like everybody else at the same time, we all learned at the same time that Chad Gable was not on the injured list for so long. He wasn't, off doing whatever. He was El Grande the entire time, but he was the fake El Grande. The true El Grande still exists, and he's down there. But finding out that Chad was trying to impersonate this great Mexican wrestler of years and years of heritage, and to see Chad come back and prove that, the reason he did it was wrong. And when he fought Rey Fenix, it was supposed to be Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. He did it under the false guise of who he was, and so to him to come back and make amends with all these masked wrestlers, and they're all like, they all respected him a little more because he knows what it's like, because he had the mask versus mask match. So he got to taste so much of the luchador when they initially, nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew what happened to Chad Gable. It was just like, to find out they were the same, and both in the same, and how it worked out beautifully that all these luchadors now are respecting Chad for what he's done, and Chad is making up for what he's done. And to pay it off with him winning not only to win the Intercontinental title finally, but he made Penta tap out with the ankle. Like, he was committed. I said it after the match. I'm like, you know what? I can't hate on his music anymore, because he got everything that he had worked for, and everything his last couple years has all finally come to a head. And if that means I have to hear shitty Nickelback crying in a corner theme song like I did on Raw, I was like, oh my god, he came out to that song. But hey, he the man himself is above that song, the title, everything. So I mean, I don't hear that song when I see Chad Gable. I see Chad Gable. So, Joker, how do you feel about losing your title to Chad Gable?
I am not Penta, but I will say I'm glad WWE finally did it, because if they would have did this whole thing to Chad Gable again, get him so close to the title, then sweep his feet from out from under him, he would have recovered from it. But this is the right mood. I'm excited to see who Chad possibly feuds with next. Just
Which looks
please
like
give
Dominic
me,
Mysterio.
yes, just
Based on
give me
Raw.
new music for Chad. Yes,
He just got new music.
please.
Joker, listen. The music isn't as bad when the man gets what he's earned and deserved, So,
I mean,
I
it's
mean, if you
about
can't
time.
if you can't get over the music, then that's your problem. That is your problem. I, on the other hand, will not make fun of Chad Gable. I'm Chad Gable, and anymore. And then it's the last match of the night, of both nights, because who's there? It's Mr. I need to be the last person on the show, Roman Reigns. Even Saturday night's main event, where there's not a match, you just come out and hold up the NBA title, but the NBA guy holds up the world title. Oh, that hurt my head moving it around. Anyway, Roman Reigns and Seth, I think, initially, because of the Seth injury, I think there was talk that it was supposed to happen at WrestleMania and pivoting and stuff. So this SummerSlam felt big enough that, you know what, and with attention spans nowadays, I mean, people can't wait a full year for a WrestleMania. So you kind of need a WrestleMania every 6 months. And it works. Not even 6 months. SummerSlam fits that. And so, like, literally, Punk, Cody, and Roman and Seth are the two biggest matches you can have right now. And they could have waited and saved those for WrestleMania. But who knows what they're going to do in Saudi Arabia. Obviously, Ultimate Warrior and Yokozuna will be requested. But Roman and Seth, it was a good match. I don't know as much as the Shield story. It's like, I know, like, the stuff everybody knows and the stuff they've been telling us, but I guess there was a little bit of extra nods to Dean Ambrose with some moves and his mask at the end. And it was because of how deep Seth and Roman have talked over the past how many years that I've been watching again, because I started watching again in like 2020, around the time Roman won the title. They had that Royal Rumble DQ match, and Seth has always been kind of like the Macho Man to Roman's Hulk Hogan. But also at the same time, because Seth turned on Roman, he's like, I never work with him, I never trust him. They were both like just adamant that they hated each other. And then Roman had the opportunity to hit Seth with the chair, and he didn't. And then they fought and finished, and no help from the bloodline, 1-on-1. And then afterwards, Roman, was, I forgive you. I'll put everything by. They really had that. I was not expecting that. The match was good. The outcome, I at the time, I was hoping Seth would win because Seth said LA Knight would get a title match if he won. But because of what they did after, and I think they really closed this chapter for them, which will be good for them and everybody moving forward, because that was looming for so long. And I think it's time to move forward from that. So the fact that they ended that, it was weird not seeing Seth on Raw, even they were in Iowa. It's like, oh, shouldn't he be there? You know? But yeah, Joker. Roman and I have to go on last reigns. Retaining was something you wanted, something you put out there, something you said, even though LA Knight could fight Seth Rollins, you wanted Roman Reigns to win. So how happy are you with yourself? Are you happy?
Okay, I will say I do apologize for it happening. I
Uh-huh.
will say this: the match itself on the Vanity Project scale was a 9, which would be a Razor Ramon, but the the everything else leading up to it would be an Ultimate Warrior, which would be a 3.
What's that to? The Bushwhackers?
That would have to go to Duke the Dumpster
Oh,
Josie.
no. Duke the Dumpster is definitely above Ultimate Warrior. You got to be careful with your Vanity Project scale, considering I invented it. Because SummerSlam Night 2 was such a success, like, literally, I think my only complaint is, like, oh no, Seth didn't win. But then WWE did one of the most beautiful things they could do right now. And they started Raw with Roman. I was like, wait a minute, does that mean he's not going to be here at the end? Like, did somebody mix up the time calls? Like, he's a little early. Like, he's usually not here for 3 hours. He shows up, walks out and leaves. So Roman comes out all, look at me, I'm Roman, I'm brr. And who interrupts Roman Reigns but L.A. Knight? Yeah. Whew. And he comes out there and he gives another amazing promo, just like he did to Seth, but he did it to Roman. And Roman is Roman. Like, you got to give him credit. Like, if it's Roman, like, if they're giving you that opportunity to be in there with him, obviously on the mic, it's LA Knight could hang with anybody, but the fact that Roman was he didn't like when they were trying to make fun of what are you gonna go challenge Drew for that title over there? Pff, why would I want to fight that guy? They kind of underhandedly make fun of or poke fun at, like, all that Roman said. The worst thing he said was like, "What did you deserve to have a title shot? You won a 6-man tag match. Woo, that's about the only dig he got on him. Everything else was LA Knight was very in the moment, and he nailed it. So yeah, give me LA versus Roman since we can't get LA versus Seth. Yeah, give it to me at the next PLE, and yeah, put the goddamn belt on LA Knight. Yeah, Joker.
Yes.
Yes, I said yes 6 times. You say yes. I'm sorry, it's not Los Angeles Knight. Yes, he doesn't come out there and say
Yeah.
with everybody calling my name, Los Angeles Knight. Yes, with everybody saying LA Knight. Yeah. I'm afraid to hear what you say when Jey Uso comes out. It's the Yeet Master General. Here he is, Mr. Main Event, but pre-main event because Roman still comes out after.
Honestly, like I would want them to put the title on Knight. They need to do it.
Well, because listen, and I see the pattern. And Triple H said something in the post conference on one of the nights was, are you better than this person? Do you earn the spot? All this stuff. So it's like Chelsea's got a title. Sami had a 9-day run. KO's back going after Punk. LA Knight's going after Roman. I was like, okay, I see. Corbin beat Trick. I was like, Chad Gable's Intercontinental. I was like, okay, Chad, well deserved. Chelsea, well deserved. Sami, years, pretty much well deserved. You know who else is well deserved? LA Knight. And if he can beat Roman, even if something, let's say Solo ends up helping, maybe it is something more along those lines where he does get help because he's got that backup now. I mean, I don't give a shit. Put the damn title on LA Knight, and that'll be huge for him. Because I know, like I said, it can be for now. It can be till the Rumble. After the Rumble, do whatever, and then come WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, you want your biggest names versus your biggest names. LA Knight isn't quite, but he is. Like, he's over now. That Saudi crowd has been watching since he's been huge. They cheer for him over there. I don't think main event, but you could definitely have LA Knight in a high priority match with or without a title. So, yeah, more than happy to see LA Knight in that position. And then later on, of course, he passes Jay and gives him the old haha, and Jay kind of flinches. So he's right there. He's right there, Joker. Even though he didn't win King of the Ring, and you know what? He may not need Money in the Bank, but if he can get that title, damn, they'll have made up for that damn King of the Ring that they screwed me on, that I predicted so hard, so long. And then,
Yeah, I think we're very close.
yeah, oh, so close. I can feel it. Then, I actually called it when I was watching because it's like a Liv, or it was Roxanne versus Soruka. Yeah, and then Liv, Raquel were out there. I'll just over Raquel. I've got barbed wire on my Intercontinental, so I'm a badass Rodriguez.
Stupid.
Listen, I mean, it'd be different if it was like part of the design. It's like she wrapped it and it's like holds it. Like, you can't wear that now. You have to hold it specifically in a certain way. So just yeah. But anyway, so I was like, okay, well, Liv's talking about who's going to come and all this stuff and no challenge. I'm like, okay, this is Becky's chance to return, or Stephanie. You know, like someone. This is going to happen. And who comes out? Becky Lynch talks shit, and of course she's a babyface now after she was hated for so long. And then as Liv tries to leave, and I said it because Soruka was out there, like, well, we gotta have 3-on-3. So now that Becky's out here, and Soruka, it's like, okay, it's gonna be Stephanie, and then Stephanie came out at the entrance, and it was beautiful. And then her and Becky kind of had a little bit, and Stephanie looks incredible, by the way. But then Stephanie and Becky kind of jawed back and forth. I'm like, perfect. You brought back two people in the women's division. The Raw women's division just shot up to back to the top. We'll see what happens on the women's one. Also with Chelsea as the interim champion, Rhea Ripley out, Tiffany with the U.S. title, and then the same kind of usual suspects down there doing stuff. It's good to see Stephanie back. I hope she's healed enough that we won't get that kind of weird shit that they had at the beginning of the year, where she was kind of like fighting, not fighting, working on her ankle. So it's like they wanted to go with her, do all this stuff, and that's it. If they couldn't, and then that's when they should have been like, okay, well, her and Giulia kind of came in at the same time. They both have that wrestling from around the world. They could have put Giulia in that spot, and it would have been just fine. But great to see them back. And then and Oba Femi obviously was dressed in some kind of fancy garb, and he came and told Paul Heyman, "Oh, thank Brock Lesnar for me because blah blah blah." And then when Braun Breaker came out after Oba was talking in the ring, he was just pissed. And then he went backstage after and he asked Paul Heyman, "You might know where Oba Femi is?" And Paul Heyman said, "Why would I know where he is? My name's Paul Heyman." Braun's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was your new best friend." It's like, oh. So, I mean, Braun Breaker versus Oba Femi sounds great. But Oba just beat Brock Lesnar in a trilogy, so it's not going to be like a threat, really. I mean, it is and it isn't. But, and actually, that part with Paul Heyman was after, because Braun Breaker had a match with Joe Hendry, and just like they did Giulia, Braun just squashed Joe Hendry. Why are we squashing Joe Hendry? I don't know why we called him up, just to have him get squashed and do nothing and hang out with Danhausen and create a song that is too catchy to get out of your head. It's better than Fire Logan Paul. Not a fan, but I mean, that's because it's got Logan Paul in the title. And like I mentioned a little earlier, Penta and Gable came out and were also excited with each other. And then that's when Dom came out and they had a tag team match. I don't even remember who won that match because I was just like, okay, I kind of figured this is going to become a thing. Yeah, and then what the hell happened at the very end? Oh, yeah, Jey Uso and Royce Keys in the street fight. I was like, that's great. That could have been done on SummerSlam instead of the six-man tag. But then who else would you have in that six-man tag? You're not going to have LA Knight and Solo against the Usos. You could have done that, actually. You could have done that. You could have had another match. So maybe that's what they were planning, was maybe this match was for SummerSlam. And they're like, you know what? We'll do the six-man tag instead, and then we'll just save it. But then Roman came out at the end and put his finger up, and so did Jacob. And then as Roman goes back through the crowd, or through the curtain, Rey Mysterio standing there like, hey, did you know I'm the general manager of AAA? And Roman's like, I guess I know now. Like, probably like, who the hell books down there? The Undertaker? Right. That'll be the day. So I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe he's going to show up at Triple Mania at the end of the show and not have a match like usual. Who knows? But it's like Damian Priest had a big announcement. Like, he's in AAA now. It's like, I mean, how they're going to have Roman show up? No one's going to give a shit about Priest. But that's my quick rundown about Monday Night Raw. Joker, how did you like Monday Night Raw? And how this felt like a Raw after Mania, except it's a Raw after Slam.
Honestly, I think they're doing a lot of things right. Can I say the thing for the women?
Say the thing for the women. What do you want to say for the women?
War games.
Huh?
I can definitely see them having Liv, Raquel, Roxanne
Uh,
go against Becky,
yeah.
Stephanie, and some other people in War Games. I
Solruka,
can.
some other people.
So,
The girl that was out there
so
fighting.
yes,
Yeah, but that's 3-on-3.
yeah.
You still need 2 or more on each side. Who are you gonna?
Well,
It is. Listen, it
I
is August.
yeah,
It is
I
3 months.
know.
3 months from War Games. You can calm your regal right there.
I know. I can call right now. Honestly, I will say they did the return to Big Cass pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. I've
It's
never.
just
I've only seen him under the learning tree in AEW. I don't. I never saw Big Cass and Enzo. But someone did say like I don't. He was huge. Him standing next to Jackie Redmond was frightening.
he is a big man. It's just I'm excited to see what they can do with him. It's just I'm
I
a
mean,
little iffy on it.
well, in my eyes, he's like I was saying earlier. We talked about kind of he's he's kind of returning like Baron Corbin. Coming back and stating his claim and beating on Javon Evans. But Javon Evans doesn't have a title, whereas Baron Corbin was like, I'm going to attack a U.S. champion and get a title match. He's like Baron Corbin light for Raw, whereas SmackDown has the Baron Corbin. So,
I feel like
but
he
that's
has
just
to work his way up.
well, I guess I don't know how big cast was he. Like, did they ever win the tag titles? Like was him and Enzo were a big thing back then?
No, like they never won the tag titles. They came close several times, but Vince McMahon was never too keen on them to like hold the title. But they were so over, and they could have held the titles. But nope, Vince is like break him up. We need to get this big guy away from the small guy to make him look better because
Who
the
did they want to
little
make look
guy was
better?
making
They wanted big cast
exactly
look better.
like
Well, but
yeah
Vince
that
loves big guys though, so it made sense.
yes like Enzo was over like because Enzo is overshadowing Cass in a lot of ways,
Yes, he should.
surprising. But like honestly, I think they can push Cass as a single star. It's just I do see him going after the Intercontinental Championship at some point, but
Oh
he
yeah,
has to work his way there.
yeah, of course. But I was just thinking about that. It's like he kind of reminded me of his shape. He kind of reminds me of Test, and Test was
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Test was a big dude. He did some good stuff and everything back then. So, but I mean, like if you have someone like that in the division, and kind of like I said, like Baron Corbin, a big guy comes in, tosses around these little guys like Mello and Ricky Sainz and whoever else. But you have Trick, like and having Trick against Corbin was good because two big guys, and I'm sure they had matches in NXT before Corbin got released. So yeah, Big Cass is kind of in that position on Raw, going to be in there with the Intercontinental title, fighting those same guys. Maybe he's going to join up with Ethan Page, and then Rusev will have something else to do. But yeah, no, I don't know anything about Big Cass. I'm only learning now. I just remember what was he, Big Bill in AEW, because
Yep,
that's
Big
such a
Bill.
big difference. That's like when Big Show went over there and no more BS on his shirt. Instead of his music saying
All
it's Big
right.
Show, it's like, well, it's a Paul White. It's like, huh? I don't even know how the music goes. All I know is like, it's like it's not the same. It doesn't hit the same. Although, but hey, if you think that wrestlers sing their own theme songs, I mean, we do have a video on the channel of we did find from the archives. Triple H first sang the game before he got Motorhead to sing it. So we can put that link in the description as well if you need to, catch up on your secret wrestling theme lore. But anything else about Monday Night Raw, Joker, that really stood out, or you're looking forward to, like with Oba Braun or the Roman Reigns and Jacob and Rey Mysterio and all that kind of stuff? Or
I'm
did you enjoy what you
well.
saw? Like I said, it felt like a Raw after Mania, and I really think they set up a lot of stuff. As long as there's no injuries
I
and everyone stays okay, I think we're in a good direction right now, which is hard after SummerSlam. Usually SummerSlam to Rumble is very quiet.
Honestly, I agree with you. We have a lot of big returns. They're setting up so much stuff right now, which is good. They need to do that. It's just the only thing I really think I can nitpick is
The only thing.
the Oba and Braun Breaker thing because you want to make Oba, look really good, but him just demolishing Braun Breaker at some point, that's not really gonna do much. You're
Well, I
literally
don't think he'll
taking.
destroy him. I think they'll have a great match. It's like fighting not the same. Braun and Brock are a lot the same, but it's like fighting Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar when he was younger could go where Braun Breaker can go where Oba can last longer. So instead of Oba having to have an 8-minute Hell in a Cell match, they can have a 15 to 20-minute banger between Braun and Oba, and Braun has reason to stand up, and Oba, obviously is a big man as well. So I don't think it'll be anything quick, and I don't think it'll be anything too soon. It'll just be teased for now.
Well, I was gonna equivalent it to a baby fawn standing on ice, and there's just a hunter waiting to shoot it.
What? You're
Yes.
not you're not allowed to metaphor anymore. Get your fingers out of your own pie. But but yeah, that's this week in WWE, and let us know in the comments. Anything else you want us to talk about, and like I said, next week or the week after, we'll be hopefully have our episode together. I personally was able to interview Donovan Dijak, and it was a beautiful interview. We talked for quite a while, actually, about all sorts of stuff. And so I've been editing and putting that video together. So yeah, either next week or the week after, we'll be releasing that to the world. The very first interview of hopefully many on Not Just a Hat Rack.